Chemistry. This video is going to explain how to check in or out of your chemistry lab drawer. If you're checking in, you should find a drawer that has a list tucked inside it, or ask your instructor which drawers are for your class. Once you find your drawer, use the tape and Sharpie provided to write your name on the tape and put the piece of tape on the drawer so that we know this drawer has been claimed. Once you claim your drawer, take everything out of your drawer and place it on the counter. You can use a wax pencil to go through the list and mark off the items that you have. The first item on the list is beakers. Here we have the beakers that you should have in your drawer. You should have two 30 ml beakers, two 50 ml beakers, a 100 ml beaker or a 150 ml beaker, one or the other, a 250 ml beaker, a 400 ml beaker, and a 600 ml beaker. For all your glassware, you should check for star cracks in the bottom and chips along the rim that may cut your fingers. If any of your glassware has chips or cracks in it, you should discard it in the glass disposal box in the front of the lab. The beakers, to save space, can be stacked, but they should be stacked in such a way that the lips of the beakers are in the same place and overlap each other. If you stack them so that they are not like this, they can get stuck inside of each other. Since you have two 50 ml beakers and two 30 ml beakers, you will not be able to stack all of the beakers, just one of each size. You can save these two small beakers to put small things in that we'll go through later. You should also check that your glassware is clean. You will probably not have time at the beginning of experiments to be cleaning glassware that's dirty, so always start with all of your glassware clean, and having all of it clean at the beginning of the year will get you started on the right foot. Once your drawer is empty, you should see a drawer liner inside. The drawer liner should be clean and free of stains. If it is not, you can go ahead and replace it with clean drawer liners on the cart. The next item on the list is crucible tongs. So this is a pair of crucible tongs. The next item on the list is a crucible and crucible cover. This should be relatively clean, and the cover should not have any chips or cracks in it. Next on the list, you should have 6 medicine droppers. Make sure that these are clean and that the tops of them are not hardened or brittle. If they are, go ahead and replace them with new ones on the cart. The next item on your list is an Erlenmeyer flask. You should have 2 of these, a 50 ml and a 250 ml. Again, check these for chips in the rim and cracks on the bottom, and make sure that they are clean. The next item on your list is an evaporating dish. Check to make sure it's clean. Next, you should have a funnel. It could be glass or plastic. Make sure that it hasn't been broken and that there's no chips in the bottom or in the top of the funnel. Also make sure that it's clean and free of clogs in the neck. The next item is stirring rods. You should have 1 large one and 6 small ones. Make sure the 6 small ones are fully intact and they haven't been snapped in half. Next is a graduated cylinder. You should have a 10 ml and a 50 ml. It does not matter whether the base is plastic or glass. The next item on the list is litmus paper. You should have a tube of red and a tube of blue. If your tube is empty, you can get more litmus paper from the cart. The next item is a rubber stopper. You should have 1 of these, and it shouldn't be hard or brittle. Next is a ruler, just a typical ruler with inches and centimeters. The next item on your list is a test tube rack. You should have a small test tube rack and a large test tube rack. Your small test tube rack should have 13 small test tubes. Your large test tube rack should have 8 large test tubes. Next is a test tube holder. It should be easy to squeeze and shouldn't be rusty. Next is a thermometer. You may or may not have a case for your thermometer. It's okay. The next item is a triangle. This triangle again should be relatively clean and relatively free of rust. Next item is a watch glass. Make sure it's clean and free of cracks and chips. The next item is a mesh wire gauze. Again, make sure it's intact and not too rusty. You can replace it if it is. The last thing on your list is a plastic well holder. It should look just like this. And one more item that you do not have on your list but you want to have in your drawer is a scoopula. This is going to be used for measuring solid chemicals. There is one item on your list that you will no longer have in your drawer, which is a set of goggles. The goggles this year and from now on will be provided by the bookstore. So you want to purchase a pair of ANSI, that's ANSI, approved safety goggles, either online or in the bookstore, your choice. Once you are done making sure that you have all your items and you've checked them off with your wax pencil, you should write your name on the chalkboard in the front of the lab. That way your instructor knows that you're ready to check into your drawer or out of your drawer. At this point, your instructor will go down the list in order of the names that they've been written on the board, and they'll come over and watch you put the items back in the drawer. So you can take your beakers, put them in the back corner, as so. You can take your crucible tongs, just put them on the side, and your instructor will watch you do all of these things. It is handy to put the crucible inside the evaporating dish. And you want to try to take larger items and put them in the back. You want to make sure that your drawer is very neat and it's easy to find things. A good thing to do with your medicine droppers is to put them inside of that 50 ml beaker. They'll all fit in there, that way there'll be less things loose in your drawer. You can do the same thing with your stirring rods. The large one won't be able to stand up, so put it on the side. But the small ones, you can use your 30 ml beaker to hold those. The funnel can go on the side, it's too big to stand up. Same thing with the graduated cylinders. They're too large to stand up, so they can be placed along the side. Other small items like the rubber stopper can go into the evaporating dish. You can take your ruler and place it along the side of your drawer with the other long items. The small test tubes can stay in the test tube rack, and they can go in your drawer just so. The large test tubes may or may not fit. It depends on your rack. If you can close the drawer easily without the tops touching the top, then you're fine. And this kind of rack in this video fits just fine. If you have a different kind of large test tube rack, you might have to take the test tubes out and just lay them inside the drawer. The other long items can go along the side, just so, like that. And then the mesh and the triangle can just sort of go in the front, like that. Your evaporating dish can be on top of your watch glass. That's a good couple of items that fit together well, just like that. Your plastic dish can just go along the side if you wish. And your scoopula can just go along the side as well. If you want to store your goggles in your drawer, that's your choice, but you are responsible if it gets lost or stolen. So now we have a very nice, neat lab drawer that's ready to go, full of clean items that are not damaged. Once you have fully checked in or out of your drawer and your instructor has approved of your check-in, check-out, you should sign your name on the sheet provided, and if you're checking in, write the drawer number, which should be on the front of the drawer that you checked into, so that we know who checked into which drawer. When you're done with your list, you can give it back to your instructor after you wipe off all of the wax marks that you used to check off the items. Acetone may be provided to help you clean off the wax. Don't forget to put your wax pencil back in the drawer.